Hello, everyone. This is Adam Meister, the BitcoinMeister, the DisruptMeister. Welcome to Today in Bitcoin Part 2. Today is February the 13th, 2017. Yes, it's after midnight now, the next day. So my previous video, the first 6 minutes were fine, and then my internet died. And I tried to get on another way, and it was very choppy. And it's really strange this happened because this is my last night here. I'm going to Portugal in less than 24 hours. So that's cool, but so I'm going to have to record these videos, these last two videos today and in a couple hours, and upload them a different way. So let's just get right back into it here. I'm lucky this didn't happen earlier. Let's hope the internet connection is good in Lisbon. So first of all, in the links below, we're going to link to the previous video, to yesterday's video, to This Week in Bitcoin, and to the Carlo Vicari Ethereum Classic video, and also a link to the Anoncast interview they did with me. Eric Voorhees of Shapeshift, he's in charge of Shapeshift. He posted a very interesting article. And first, I want to share one of his tweets that gives his opinion on the block size debate. Personally, I'd like to see SegWit plus a guaranteed flag to hard fork X months later to an 8 MB block would buy 2 to 3 years, then LN. All right, so he likes some hybrid of SegWit and then the Bitcoin Unlimited type of thing. Hard fork. I mean, and I am, of course, totally against a hard fork. I think that just ruin everything. I guess he thinks if it's planned in ahead that it won't split into two different Bitcoin. But it's neither here nor there. I want to talk about the article, which is linked to below. And I did talk about this in the previous video, but it got all chopped up. So if you can understand what I said in that, good luck. But this is what you should be watching now. Anyway, he talks about a situation where, the cost of using Bitcoin it's not just the transaction fee, which are going up as the blocks get filled, but it's the time it takes. Time is money, and the likelihood that it actually is going to go through. And so this got me to thinking, how many people? So he's worried about time-sensitive transactions. How many people currently use Bitcoin for time-sensitive transactions? This is a serious question. I don't know that many people who use it for that. I know a lot of people who buy and hold, and thus they don't care how long it takes for them to get the Bitcoin. So as long as they get it. And we have other people out there that trade and et cetera, et cetera. Trading is not even on the blockchain. So, but it would be to get a scientific poll out there before we start doing crazy things and discussing all sorts of scenarios. Let's really find out from a scientific poll what people are using Bitcoin for now and what they want to use it for in the future. And what they want to use cryptocurrency for in the future. Because let me tell you, if there are a lot of people out there right now who are disappointed in Bitcoin because they can't send it in 30 seconds or a minute or 10, 20 minutes, a half hour, then there should be another, and they think they're saving money by using cryptocurrency, which they may be for like a $100 transaction, even if it's $2 that they're being charged, or I'm not saying that's how much the fees have been, but let's say it is. Then another cryptocurrency would fill the gap, would fill that need. There would be a demand for something like that to exist already, and Litecoin does fill that need right now. It's faster. It's going to go through, and the transaction fees are cheaper. So he's also worried about the transaction fees being high. He says like a $7 transaction, it's not good to have a 50-cent transaction fee. That's not good. That doesn't make Bitcoin better than a credit card. And but how many people are using it for these type of things right now? How many people are using it for those type of things? And what would be wrong with another cryptocurrency stepping up to fill that gap? Because if it's right now, no cryptocurrency, no one else is doing much with the other cryptocurrencies. It's not like a bunch of people are using Litecoin, buying Litecoin and using it. So I just don't see where the demand is, because if such a demand existed, this would be a great opportunity for a cryptocurrency just to step up their game. He kind of concludes the article that there's no guarantee that Bitcoin is going to be the main one forever if it doesn't fix its problems. Well, is this a true problem? Is this a true problem currently, or is it about to be a true problem? Is this what people want to use Bitcoin for? Or do they want to use it just to take money across borders, to preserve their wealth? These are not time-sensitive things. And in my real-life experience, when I'm in, we talk about the developing world and how they would be sensitive to if the transaction fees were high. I mean, they're already losing all their money in banks closing down. They can't get their money out of their countries at all. They're willing to pay a premium to get their money out of their country. Now that doesn't mean they're not using it to buy coffee. Obviously, it has other uses. And is that what it's going to be used for most of the time? And if so, then I would expect another altcoin to fill the void. He said himself that he has used Ethereum to do quick transactions of relatively small amounts, I guess like around $10. He said he had to buy a game online. It was a time-sensitive purchase. He needed it now, a computer game, and it wouldn't show up. The transaction wouldn't go through. It was just taking too long, so he had to use his Visa card or his Master or whatever, his credit card. Well, maybe that's just the way it is. And he said that's not a good excuse. But I'm just saying, how many people are in that situation? How many people's time sensitive is it important? So I want to give you an example of real life when I was in Zimbabwe, about transaction fees, for instance. What people are willing to pay to get $100 in cash. Because that's what Bitcoin is. Bitcoin, to someone in a foreign country, they can't wire their money out of the country. You cannot wire money out of the country in Zimbabwe, okay? Cannot do it. But what you can do is you can get cash somehow and walk it across. That would be good. Cash gives you a little bit more freedom. There are many countries where you have no freedom of cash. So cash is so valuable, and by the way, and Bitcoin's selling for a premium, like over $100 more in Zimbabwe than it is here, because people want it. They want to send their money out of the country. But again, but in Zimbabwe, you can send if you've got money in the bank, you can send it to another bank. You can use it on your debit card in Zimbabwe to get food. So when you see these bank lines in Zimbabwe, which I saw with my own eyes, people waiting there all day to get $50 out of the bank, because they want that money for other type of transactions that don't involve credit cards or involve them giving the money to their brother in South Africa or something like that. Getting the money out of the country is one reason to get dollars or to get rand somehow. South African rand. So with that in mind, obviously time sensitivity to people in Zimbabwe, it's nothing in their mind. For them to get cash, they will wait all day. People sleep in front of those banks when the banks run out of money, okay? Because the men have nothing else to do. I've said this story before. You look in their eyes, they're broken people. But the most important thing, which I have not spoken about before, I tried to in the last video, is that people who have $100, they can sell their $100 cash, to people for between $110 and $115 wired from bank account to bank account. So that's how much cash is worth in these countries. So we're talking about transaction fees here. People are willing to pay quite a bit for cash in these countries and wait for it for long periods of time. So again, where I want to know let's take some surveys here. What do people want to use Bitcoin for? What is it being used for? And when let's do that. And before we start saying that it's a necessity, someone's always going to be disappointed with new things, and you can't please everyone all the time. And he did mention, some people are going to be totally turned off by Bitcoin, and then they're going to go back to credit cards or fiat money. But if they're so into this new technology, maybe they'll just go to Litecoin then, if Litecoin is really going to solve the problem here. And would that be that bad to have one of the cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin, do basically everything cryptocurrency, and then have another cryptocurrency do the fast little transactions? And again, isn't segregated witness going to solve these things eventually? I mean, and that's the eventually part. I don't think he likes the eventually part. That this should be solved fast. Anyway, you can read his article. You can think about what I just said. Let's move on. Vinny Lingham retweeted this tweet by Alistair Mine. I will link to it below. If a government was trying to accumulate Bitcoin, they would probably reduce leverage available, discourage investors via controls, and publish FUD. Now think about that. What country has been doing that lately? What does that sound like? I mean, that sounds like a description of the China situation. Not that I like to focus on China, because I don't. But it is interesting. It's funny. And I'm not saying China is doing this now. But if China actually was doing all of this on purpose, and they were trying to buy Bitcoin, this would be huge. It would definitely start the Bitcoin war between countries competing to get Bitcoin. Once everyone found out China did this, then yeah, other countries would try to do the same thing. And it would totally help the people who are holding Bitcoin now, because it would skyrocket in value. So it is quite true that if a government were trying to accumulate Bitcoin, it probably would do all of those things that guy mentioned. And China has sort of been doing those things, but that doesn't mean China is trying to accumulate Bitcoin. But it's something just to think about. Thought it was an interesting tweet. Finally, I don't know if you guys have heard of a guy named Mike Cernovich. He's big in, I guess, the alternative media, conservative, whatever those dudes are. But he has a video out, and he says that he's been telling people to buy and hold Bitcoin for quite some time. And he talks about it again at the 25:45 mark in the video that I will link to below. And I thought, wow, like him or hate him, and I definitely don't agree with everything that dude says, or, the way he goes about things. Like him or hate him, he's got a huge audience. And when he's telling people, that's big. And I don't know if he accepts Bitcoin donations. He should. And he should promote it more on the show. And if you watch his show, or if you don't even watch his show, you should tell him to do it. And I emailed him, actually. And you should email him too. I'll link to his email below. Cernovich at protonmail.com. And anyway, at that starting point in that video, the 25:45 mark, he actually starts to talk about some very interesting things, how we're living in a very unique time now for entrepreneurs. It's a great time. And it is. We have such a great opportunity to work for yourself. If you're working for like the man or some corporate entity, it's horrible. It's horrible. And he said that. And I agree with that. I agree with that totally, man. Totally. So on that note, I'll be going to Portugal. And we're working for myself, and it's been awesome. It's been awesome. It's been a good time. The internet is dead here now. Anyway, I'm Adam Meister, the BitcoinMeister, this right Meister. Remember to subscribe to this channel, like this video, share this video. I will talk to you tomorrow.